Deepak, Purva, you can do mute off from your side.
Yes, sir.
Okay, हाँ, right. बीच में म्यूट ऑल करते रहना है
सर,
है ना, राइट. म्यूट ऑल करके जिसको म्यूट ऑन करना उसको ऑन कर दिया करना. ठीक. ओके,
ठीक है सर.
सुरेश शर्मा भी आ गए हैं ना.
हाँ, सूरज सर आ गए.
हाँ, आ रहे हैं ना. ठीक है.
हाँ,
निलेश हो गया है ना. हाँ, ठीक है. ओके ओके, ध्यान रखना फिर, है ना, मैं निकल जाऊंगा बीच में. ओके.
सर स्टार्ट करेंगे.
हाँ, हो गया पूर्व. आप तो स्टार्ट करो. मैं अब मेरा वेट करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. यू कैन स्टार्ट नाउ, राइट.
यस सर. सर थोड़े से पार्टिसिपेंट और आ जाए. चेक एक मिनट रुक जाते 5 सेकंड.
आ गए. 58 करीब है.
हाँ,
सुरेश सर से बात हो गई. आ गए सुरेश सर, एक बार बात कर
सुरेश
लो.
सर. सुरेश सर, आर यू देयर?
हाँ, यस, आ गए. आ गए. आ गए. हाँ,
यस सर. हाँ सर. तो डी के सर से So shall we start?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all. I, Purva Shukla, again welcome you the next session of FDP. I request DK Mishra, sir, please address the FDP session. Sir, please.
Address.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The last session of Dr. Vivek Tiwari was very excellent, and the research is a very important topic. For research is also important for your promotion and all these things. PhD is important. Now in the 2020, you can see that minimum PhD is required for the assistant professor. Will be there. Then everybody should be what PhD. You can see in the last 10 years, earlier it was the minimum requirement for the faculty is B, and that it becomes to MTech. Now it's going to be in 2022 is minimum PhD. The first thing is PhD is required so that the teacher should motivated to do the research. But the PhD is the byproduct of the research. If you are continuously doing the research, PhD will be automatically come out. And in the last session, we learned about that, how to read and write and how to put the review comment, how to read the review comments, how to reply them. That's not very good. Okay. So now in the coming next sessions, we are going to learn about that, how to write technically, how to write the paper in the technical form. That is very important. Everybody is able to write, but how they can write, that is very important. So today's speaker is Suresh Sharma. He's from IIIT Bhubaneswar. Very welcome you from the ACM Indore chapters. As a chairman Indore chapter, I welcome you. And I again welcome you all the participants of the second session. After lunch, it's very difficult to listen, and it's a very challenge for the Dr. Suresh Sharma to become this session will be interactive and live. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. With great pleasure, I present to you Dr. Suresh Sharma, sir. He has done MTech and PhD from NIT Roorkee and currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science at IIT Bhubaneswar since last 8 years. He has published more than 60 research papers in the reputed international journal and conferences. He is the director of the IoT and Cloud Computing Lab establishment in IIT. He involved in several research communities like IEEE Computer Society, ACM, CSI, IEI, ISRD, etc. He is actively involved in the several international journals to reviewing the research paper, including IEEE, elsewhere, Springer, ACM, VILEC, etc. I would like to request sir to take up the session. Sir, please. Suraj sir, please.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Could you all able to see my slides?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, slides is available. Then let's start. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mishra sir. Thank you, Professor Racharya sir, and all the organizing committee in Indore Institute of Science and Technology. I welcome all the participants who are there in the first session and who are still there in the second session. Okay, so most of the research perspective has been covered by Dr. Vivek Tiwari.
Excuse me, sir. It's not audible.
आपका माइक
Okay.
सुनाई तो दे रहा है, बराबर सुनाई दे रहा है? ऑडिबल
Yes,
है,
sir,
ऑडिबल
Suraj sir, audible. Suraj sir, audible.
ऑडिबल है.
Okay.
आप थोड़ा सा
Sir,
आप
please continue.
Okay, so if I'll be audible, and then I want to be all the other participants would mute their respective Zoom. I think that
yes.
will be good. Okay. So I welcome to all in this particular session. So in this session, I'll let you know about how we do research planning, how we actually write a paper, and where we have to publish it. I think Dr. Vivek sir has already gone through some of the perspective of different review comments, how we can deal with that. So he has, I think, very detailed way he has discussed about it. So I'll discuss in my perspective what is research planning and how we can write a technical paper. So I'll go into that particular direction. Again, now I'll start my session. Now in this, if you'll see the research planning. So first of all, when we do some sort of research, we have to go through some of the problem that we have to identify. So as it has been already discussed in the previous sessions, so I'll make it very brief. Now, identifying a problem is based on 2-3 aspects. Prospect, like first aspect is what is your area of research and what is your area of interest. Now, the first thing will be that. The second thing is all about taking the help of your supervisor. So if you are a PhD scholar and you are doing research, or you are an MTech scholar, you are doing research. So it depends upon the guide and their area of research and the problem that has been given to you. Now, generally what will happen is if you'll go to the guide and the PhD scholar, a PhD guide or supervisor, so definitely they have some predefined problem and predefined area where you have to work. Now, first you have to go with your expertise. So what is your background? Are you a networking person? Are you more like ML AI person? Are you more like image processing person? Right. So in all these perspective, first you have to go to a broader area of research. Then you have to concise and find out some problems related to your area of research. Now, how you can do that? What are the other method that you can find it out to get to know about the problem? So first and foremost thing is you have to do many literature surveys. Now, what do you mean by literature survey? The meaning of the literature survey is you have to go through all the related broad area that you have find it out. Let's say you want to go for security. Now, in which security you want to go, whether you want to go network security, the database security, or if you'll go different perspective of or different concise way of going to the security. Let's say if we'll talk about IoT, if we'll talk about cloud, if we'll talk about many other edge security, edge computing security, in that way. So you have to go for these broad area. Let's say you find out IoT security, and in the IoT security you can get different papers related to it, which will tell about the security has many aspects. Let's say if we'll talk about authentication, if we'll talk about confidentiality, if we'll talk about integrity, all those things comes into the picture. Then you have to go for different new technologies, in which technology you want to do work on security. Now, so by this you can actually define your problem. So define a problem, it will take a lot of time. Let's say I have admitted a PhD scholar for, let's say for 1 year, he'll take uh, he'll take some papers, essential papers, and then he'll go for the a problem. And identifying the problem, it will take, let's say 1 year or 1.5 years. So it will be a totally waste of time. So as soon as possible, we have to find out in which problem we have to do research. So that is only possible either you take the help of your supervisor, or you have to go through different papers, different areas of that particular paper, and then you'll get to know what is it. Now, after defining the problem, the first and foremost thing you have to go is find out the related work. What are the related work that has been done? Let's say if we'll talk about authentication in IoT. Now, in authentication in IoT, what are the different aspects has been published till now related to authentication? What are the different methods they have used? What are the different way of doing that? What are the different applications? What is the applicability of those solution to that problem? And then you have to find out the gap. The gap is very much important. You have to find out the research gap. Now, if we'll so for finding out the research gap, you have to go to the recent work, very recent work you have to go through, and then you will find out what is the gap that is there. Now, if we'll read, let's say in 2020, you will get some papers in 19, in 18, in 17. Don't go for further in 2016 or 15. Don't go for the old research work. Go for the new or the readily available, the new or the newly published research work. From there, you can get to know the problem and the gap. Now, after finding the gap, or after finding the flaws, or after finding the problems related to the previous work, you have to go for your definition of problem. Now, here you have to define two things. First, you have to define your problem, and then you have to define your objectives. Now, after defining a problem, you have to define different objective of your paper. Now, what are the different objective you have to cover in your research, right? Now, after doing that, in one objective, you have to fulfill and create one research from it. Now, after that, after doing the literature reviews and all, at least 50, 60 recent research paper. After that, you'll get to know that what are the simulation tool or what are the different data sets that is available for validating or for implementing those algorithm or those concepts which is available in the previous research paper. Then you have to implement those papers, those previously or the ready paper, or you have to find out the data set, and then you have to go for the finding the accuracy of different algorithms, the previous algorithm. And then after that, you can add up with your own proposed work. Now, this after that, you have to do this simulation and finding out the results and do the analysis. Now, after defining the simulation tool, and if you are related to AI/ML or deep learning or these type of thing, then you have to go for different data sets, right? So to getting all those data sets, you have to implement it, and then you have to analyze the results that you are getting in. Now, if you are getting the results which are there in the paper and you are getting almost the same results, then it is okay. Otherwise, you have to find it out what are the pre-assumptions they are having, in which environment they have done their experiments. And then you have to cope up, or you have to tune up your own simulation model to match their results. Now, why I am telling this is, before implementing your own proposed work or your own method, you have to go to those methods which are already available, right? So first thing, you have to do that. Now, after that, you have done the proper simulation and getting the experiment results and do the analysis of the results, that why this parameter is high, why this parameter is low, what are the different factors which are actually affecting those data. That's why we got these type of results. So you have to have those analysis with you. You have to have validated with the previous papers. And in the meanwhile, do comparison. Novel aspect of anything. We are talking about research. So definitely somebody has already been done some program and some method. They have already been published, and what you have to do is you have to find out the flaws and how we can enhance those things, right? So for enhancing those things, you have to do a proper comparison with the similar existing research. So let's say if you are working on the authentication perspective of the security, then you have to find it out what method they have used, what are the feasibility of that method, how much energy it is consuming, how much time delay it is taking. All those matrices you have to be ready before the comparison. So in which basis you want to do comparison. So those matrices or those aspect you have to have ready before the comparison with the existing work, so that you can find it out with the previous research work, in which aspects they have compared their work. whether it is accuracy, whether it is other parameters, let's say the energy, let's say the efficiency. So all those aspects you have to be ready before you go for the comparison. Now, after the comparison and all these research work has been done, you have to support your proposed method with the theorem or some lemmas. Now, why theorem and lemma is necessary? Actually, it is a theoretical proof of your proposed work. Now, how you can theoretically prove that your algorithm is efficient, or your algorithm is having less or complexity? So how you can do that? So you can always do that with some proofs, with some mathematical proof or either theoretical proof. And so that you have to define some theorems or some lemmas which will support your method, your proposed method. Now, all these aspects are very necessary. Now, once you are fill up with all those things, after that, you will go for the paper writing. Now, we'll go it once again. So first thing is the identification of the problem. Second thing is to get into literature review, mostly the recent research. Then you have to find out the simulation tools and you have to collect the data set. After that, you have to go for the proper simulation or experimental result. Then you have to propose your method, your new method, and then you, after the simulation, you have to compare it with the existing research work with the given matrices or with the given aspects. And then you have to write some theorems or some lemma so that we can make it more concrete, we can make it more validated. So our research will be more validated based on the theoretical proofs in the form of theorems and lemma. And after getting all this thing ready, you can go for the paper writing. Now, paper writing, we all know that what do you mean by a paper writing and how we can write the paper and what content should be there. So before actually going to the paper writing, we have to remember in mind first thing that we have done something, we have done some research, we have done some work, right? And then we have to write those work, those method, those proposed experiments in such a way so that other people can get all those things very clearly. Now, what is the meaning of getting all those things getting very clearly is once you are disseminating your work should be readable. So other people can read the work and can understand. So first of all, it should be readable. The second thing, it should be understandable. So other people can understand it. Now, in both the thing, keep in mind, you have to write your paper. Now, after getting all those things, after getting the literature reviews, after getting those figures, my experiments, my tables, what I do is I'll follow this particular method. So this is my method of drafting the paper. Now, the first thing is just get started. Don't procrastinate. Don't postpone. If your work has been done, if your work has been done related to the simulation, related to the analysis, related to the work that you have done, uh, or if you are doing a survey related to the survey, if you have done so, if you have done so you don't have to actually wait. Now, before going to many thinking, before going to various aspect of creation of any draft, you just write the draft. Now, if you'll keep in mind, like, I'll write the draft, it doesn't mean that the first draft is your last draft, right? Many enhancement will be done afterwards. So you don't have to worry about it. Now, for the first thing you have to do is you just have to get started and create an outline. So first thing what you have to do, you can create see, whenever we write a paper, it is very difficult to write the paper in one sitting, right? It is not at all possible to write whole paper in one sitting. So first thing you have to do is to create the outline. How we are creating the outline? So we'll create the outline related to by collecting all the figures, by drawing all the figures, by collecting all the tables or drawing all the tables, collecting and getting the results and the references. You be ready with all those things. So it is an easy part and it is very necessary part. So as I told you, if you are sitting, let's say in Saturday, Sunday, and after that again we'll sit on Saturday, Sunday, because we have 5 days of work. So if I want to continue with the same aspect, so I have to draw the outline. So the outline will help me that where I have left and what are the things that I have to add up in my paper to create the first draft. So outline is very much important. This technique I generally use to follow. The next thing is to keep in mind when we create a first draft of our research is do not write the introduction. So we do not go for writing the introduction at first. Why? Because introduction will be a very new thing for me, right? It will be very what I can say it will be very very essential, what we can say, very novel or very new thing for me to create an introduction or to write an introduction. What I know till now is I have listed my problem, I have done the research, the literature review, I have done the experiments and all, but I haven't go through the what will write in the introduction. So introduction will not to write at very first. What we have to begin with, we have to begin with experimental section. So for the experimental section or the proposed method section, we have to create. Why? Because we are involved in the experimental and the proposed method from the beginning of the research, right? So this is a very easy step to go on with. If you'll start with the introduction, definitely at 1-2 hour, you'll get bored and you'll leave your draft at that particular time. So it is not a good idea. Good idea is to write your proposed method, because you have algorithm, you have figures available. So you just write that particular section first. Now, after writing the proposed method or the experimental section, you just write the results and the discussion section, right? Because you have all those things available. So it is very easy to go into results and discussion and follow the outline. After that, you can follow the outline and do a proofreading. Now, after doing a proofreading, that we have what we have written in the proposed method and the results and discussion, because this is your novel, this is your what you can say, this is your work actually. So here in the proposed method or results and discussion, we do not cite any paper, right? We generally cite the paper in either in literature review or in the introduction part. We do not cite different papers in the proposed method or results and discussions. After that, we have to do a proofread. Proofread is just removing all the grammatical flaws if it is available, or removing all the typo error if it is available. And then you have to write the conclusion, because from there you get to know that what is my conclusion is. What are the different aspects in which I have done the experiment and I have drawn these results. So what should be the conclusion that I can write? And I can also write the future work associated with the conclusion. If you want to write, you can write. It is not essential, but it would help me to do further research on the same topic or the same proposed work that I have covered. You have to, you might have think of it. Let's say I have used that algorithm. So what will be my results? If I'll use that algorithm, probably that parameter will be tuned up. So you know about it, and you have, if you're writing it in the conclusion part as a is a future work, then it will be very good. Now the next is writing the abstract. So either you can do right away, write the abstract here because you have done the experimental part and the results, or you can wait for it. It depends upon you. Then after that, you have to go for the introduction part. Now in introduction part, what we have to write, that is the first thing that comes into the mind. So the first aspect that you have to write in the introduction is why was the study done? If you have done something, then why you have done, and what is the purpose of your work. So that answer you have to write in your introduction. Next thing, you have to find out the essential and relevant background information. Now, related background information or essential and relevant information is very much required in introduction, because the reviewer will read your abstract part and your introduction part first, right? So from the abstract is nothing but the summary of your paper, what is going to be there. So you just have to write 1-2 line that what is the purpose of that work, and then you have to write it down that what you have done in that particular research work, right? So that should be there in the abstract. But if we'll go to the introduction part, then it should be the whole of a purpose. What is your purpose? What is your problem? What is your objectives? So that should be clear in the introduction. Now, the last para of the introduction should be your proposed work. That these are the things that I find, which are the flaws or which is the gap, research gap, and that are the things that I am going to find in this particular paper. So that could be there in the introduction part. And one more thing, it should be added like the outline of your paper, that in that section I have done this, in that section I have done this. And as well as you can write the related work after the introduction, or you can merge the related work with the introduction, that you can do and make your first draft. Now, if you have made the first draft, definitely we can do a fine tuning of that particular draft. And after that, you definitely get a first draft or first manuscript available with you, right? So what is my suggestions is, if you have done something, if you have done some work, so don't wait to draft a paper, just draft it without thinking much what will happen, or what if I'll do like this, then what will happen, should I have to wait for some more time to get some more results. Don't have to worry about it. If you have made a first paper or first draft, then definitely you'll get the sense of satisfaction, the sense of fulfillness, and then you can just refine it and you can get the first paper as soon as possible. So that is my philosophy, and which I am sharing with you to create the first draft. Now, I'll go through some of the aspects that we have to look into the technical writing. That if you're doing with, we are saying that technical writing, right? So the writing and all, as the main comments that always comes, that there is grammatical correction is required, there is some typo, you have to do the proofreading, these sentence is very large, it is not giving any meaning, so you have to make each and every sentence meaningful, right? And to make all those sentence meaningful, you have to do a proofreading. Proofreading means finding those errors, correcting those errors if it is available. mainly related to spelling mistakes, or generally we do not have spelling mistakes nowadays. But somehow what will happen is, if you are writing something and there is some similar spelling available, so it is not coming whether we have to do spell check or not, right? We can get to know the, if we'll read the sentence, then only we can get to know what is the meaning of that particular sentence. So for that we have different tools available, like Grammarly, White Smoke, and Ginger. So all these tools are paid tools. For some, let's say for some papers or for some lines, it is free of cost, but uh, generally it is a paid tool, so you have to pay uh, to use all those tools. Next thing is whether it is giving me the different perspective of the sentence, and this sentence is fulfilling what I want to say, is that you have to look after. Again, you have to do the proofreading. Even if you have used Grammarly, White Smoke, or Ginger type of softwares, then again you have to do the proofreading afterwards. Now, one more thing you have to be very clear about is the flow of the paper. The flow of the paper should be very good. Now, in which aspect I want to go, and slowly I am reaching to tell them that this is the flaws, and before that you have to tell that what are the thing that has been done. Before that you have to tell what is the background of it. Before that you have to tell about some introduction of it. So in that way the whole flow will take place. So we have to go for a flow in the paper. If you are saying something and after that there you have writing uh, for other concepts, and it will be a mismatch. So definitely what reviewer will realize is the proper flow is not being maintained. So that could be a problem while reviewing. So you have to have a proper flow of your work in the paper. So these are different tools that is available for finding out the grammar, or to correct the typo mistakes, right? The next uh, is very important aspect in paper writing or publication of a paper is plagiarism. We all know what is the meaning of plagiarism, and what is it. I'm just giving a brief idea about it who don't know about it. So it is stealing of another author's ideas, innovations, novelties, and contributions, and publishing them as own work is called plagiarism. Means others' idea, other innovations, others' novelties, and contributions, that we are saying that this is my contribution, this is my method, and you are not citing that particular paper in your manuscript, and you are just sending it for the review. So definitely it will come in the section of plagiarism. And definitely there is a huge consequences in the research community. So research communities generally don't at all tolerate any sort of plagiarism. And what will happen is there is chances of banning those person for further uh, paper submissions in that particular, let's say IEEE or ACM. Let's say I have put one paper in IEEE and the plagiarism is very high. Let's say it is 40% or more than 40% or 30%, and I find it out that like one author has the paper, and the similarity of that particular paper is, let's say, more than 3%, it is, let's say, 5%, 7%, or 8%, definitely they will ban you for the publications. under the ground of plagiarism offense. So it is a very main thing nowadays, and we have to be very careful while drafting our paper. So plagiarism is nothing but a very serious offense. It is very unethical in academia as well as in industry. Now, our UGC has drafted a regulation in 2017. Plagiarism is defined as an act of academic dishonesty and a breach to ethics. So we all know about it, right? But the consequences are very much when we do these type of mistakes in the research community. So we have to be very careful while drafting our paper, and we have to make as low as possible for the plagiarism. Now, plagiarism could be your self, or it would be outside, right? So if you are having a paper which has the similar, almost the similar content available, and you are publishing the same content for your next paper, it comes under your self plagiarism. But definitely it is a plagiarism, so they are not going to allow it. So whether it is a self plagiarism or it is a plagiarism, it doesn't matter. So you just have to be careful while drafting the paper, and before submitting to any journal or any venue, right? Now, for the plagiarism detection, we have many free of cost tool that is available, like Duplichecker, CopyLeaks, Paper Rater, Plagiarism Checker, and one very popular tool which is available is Turnitin. So Turnitin is a plagiarism detection tool. I think most of the universities as well as our UGC is also following the same plagiarism tool. So before submitting to your guide, before submitting to any of the journal or the conferences or any other venue, you have to be go for plagiarism detection. Now here I'll give you one example. I want to give you some examples related to plagiarism. So I'll just go through one of these. So let's talk about Turnitin. So we all know about Turnitin, right? Now I'll give you one example in Turnitin. If you know, it is very good. If you don't know, or if you have very less idea, then it is for you. Now this is the Turnitin site where we can do login. It is a paid service, definitely. So it will be either available in the university, or you can take the help of those person who have this particular tool available. Now, after going to the Turnitin window, we have a section called Add Class. Here, what we can do is we can create a class here, and we can define the parameter while while just before submitting the paper. Now here we have some options like what is the class type. Let's say the class type is standard. What is the class name? Let's say I am writing IIST. The enrollment key, let's say I am putting some key there. What is the subject? Let's say if we have some engineering subjects, what is the level of the student? Let's say the postgraduate, and then we are just submitting it. After submitting it, it will create a class for me. So it is creating a class, IIST. Now, when I click into the class, it will ask me for adding the assignments. Now, in that, what I'll do is I'll just add the assignment here, and in this particular, I can define all the parameters in which I want to do search. Sorry, I want to do the the plagiarism search. So once I'll click into the add assignments, okay, so I think it is taking time. I'll just go to another class, and after adding the assignments, you will get this type of window where I have, let's say I have added one paper one, right? In that it will come like what is a due date, what is a post date, and what is a start date of your assignments. Now here what we can do is, here we can submit it. This is the way how we can submit a paper. Now if I'll click into the submit, it will go here and it will tell us like what is the first name. Let's say I'm writing some name. Let's say I'm putting my name here. What is the last name? And what is the submission title? Let's say I'm putting some paper related to IoT. Okay, and then I'll go for paper where we have to upload. Let's say I am uploading some paper related to IoT. Okay, let me find out some papers. It will be more relevant if I'll let's say this is one paper which is there, and after that I'll just upload this paper into a Turnitin. Okay, after uploading, it will ask for the confirmation. So after uploading, it will ask me for the confirmation. So I'll make it the confirmation here. So I'll just make it confirm. And after confirming, we have to wait for, let's say, 1 or 2 minutes so that we can get the results. So this is the paper that is I have uploaded. So it will show me the similarity report, let's say after 1-2 minutes. So what we do is we'll go to our slide meanwhile, and after that we'll analyze what plagiarism it is giving us. So what I told you is the plagiarism, the concept of plagiarism is very much important. I think you can I think you can see my slide right now. Okay, so I have just shown you how we can use the Turnitin. Turnitin is very much widely available in India as well as worldwide, and is accepted worldwide. Now, after doing or after creating our manuscript, we go for where we have to publish it. Now, this is the questions that comes into the mind. And Dr. Vivek Tiwari sir has already told that what is the simple way to find it out where we have to publish. So I'll repeat what he said. He said like, what is your related work is, and where, what are the different transaction or the general your related work has been published. So in the same venue you can choose and you can publish it, right? Now this is one aspect of it. Now we have different type of generals available. Now generals is in some different categories. Let's say we have some short communication or some letter in which you can just put your concepts, your actual concepts, without any results. So if you want to publish anything without doing any simulation or without any results, then definitely we can go through the short communication or the letter. This is one sort of general which is available. The next sort of general is called review papers. So if you do not want to, you have not done any simulation and you have just done the literature survey, then you can arrange your literature survey in such a way so that you can create the manuscript, and these manuscript you can publish on those review papers in the form of review paper on those journals, where only review paper will be accepted by those journals. It doesn't require actually the simulation, it doesn't require actually the results and the discussions. The next aspect of a general is a research element. If you have done the simulation and you are making your paper in a form of, let's say, 6-7 page size, and you are creating your manuscript in that particular length, then you can go for the research elements, which is there in different journals which is available, which is restricting you to publish your research finding in 7 to 8 paper length. Now the next type of journals will be in the type of full length article. So in that, okay, so
I request
full
all the
length,
participants, please mute yourself. Thank you.
okay, so
Sir, continue.
full length article is all about making a detailed way of writing your manuscript with all the thing means you have, if you have the algorithm, you write it. If you have the related figures, you just put it. If you have theorems and lemma, in that way you want to validate. So all the type of all the validation, all the simulation, all the discussions can be fully put into that particular manuscript. So it depends upon which particular journal you are targeting, you can create your manuscript accordingly. Now you can publish your paper in some book chapters also, which is available in some conferences, and there is some category of listing journals, right? We know what is required in our universities. So generally in the universities, it is required, like it should be listed in UGC, it should be listed in Scopus index, it should be SCI index journal. So all these things you have to, first of all, you have to find it out, and then you have to go for the submissions. Now I'll go through the Scopus and SCI journals little bit in detail. Before that, let's see the plagiarism has been detected or not. So I'll go to that particular. Okay, so here if you see, just refresh it. Yeah, so if you'll see, I have put it that paper, and that paper similarity report, it is saying 3% similarity report is there in the Turnitin. So if you'll see it, sorry, if you'll say this, so we have 3% which is there. If you'll see from where you are getting those percentages, so one is this article, which is 1%, another article, in that way it has been listed. And you will get to know by, it is highlighting those just highlighting those sentences or those paragraphs which are having some similarities. Okay, so here in this particular paper we have very less similarity. We'll go to another paper which is having 17% similarity. just go through this paper and try to understand this. What I want to tell you is this. So here it is 17% similarity, right? And if you'll see this here, it is saying that for one paper, it is more than 12%. So similarity for one paper is more than 12%. So that thing you have to look after. Even though the total similarity report or the total plagiarism, it is saying 17%, it doesn't mean you can send this to any of the conferences or the journal for the publication or for the review. You have to look for this, that the individually how much similarity we are getting. So generally in the journals or reputed journal and reputed conferences, the individual should be less than 2%, right? So that thing you have to be very very careful about. So that you can get, and you can see that this is showing 1 1 1. So it is of first paper that you are getting those similarity, and that you have to take care by rewriting those manuscript again, and again you have to go for the checking of your results. Now this is one aspect of going through the plagiarism. Now the next thing what I told you is about the journals. Now how we can find out the journals where we have to publish. So in the universities, it says that you have to go to UGC guideline, or you have to find out those papers which are listed in UGC or listed in Scopus indexing, or they are in SCI indexing. So we have some okay, so we have some available, right? I'll let you know. This is the list of all SCI indexed there is some SCI index general which are listed here. This is the list of all SCI index generals. I have some list of Scopus also that we can go here. So you can get all those things from the net, which is easily available. This is the list of all Scopus index generals, right? And another thing is the SCI index. So we all know that the Thomas rated generals are there. So where we can find it out, all those are SCI or not, as well as you can go through the proper, let's say if I'll go through the proper generals or any of the general, it will tell me that whether it is available in SCI or not. So here it is showing the impact factor of it, and you can find out the list where it has been indexed. So indexing and all, you can find it out, and as well as you can find it out in this particular site, which is called SCI Mago. SCI Mago, in which if you'll write down some of the paper, some of the general, in that you can find it out whether the general is listed in SCI or not. So if it is there in the SCI Mago, you can find it out whether this is in SCI or not. Okay, and we may have some list also which are SCI indexed general, or which is not SCI indexed general. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you about is the publication, right? So how much fast we can do the publication. So for that, you have to go through the respective generals. So if you are, let's say, related to computer science, so all these are all the list of related to computer science. Now here, if you'll see, it is for the Elsevier, of course, and it is saying that the first decision that is coming. So these are the weeks in which you are getting the first review, right? So 2.35 week it is taking for giving you the first review. In that way, you will get to know what is it is giving me the fast review or not. Then it is after that how much time it is taking for review, and then it is showing us that how much time it is taking for the online. So it is showing that how much time it is taking for getting you to the online. Otherwise, you can go to some of the papers. Let's say this is the paper. Now here, if you see, the receive of this paper is 10th of January and accepted is 3rd of March. So you can see how fast it is publishing the paper. Now this is another paper where you can just see, like, it is received in 11th of June. The revision will be received in 28th of November and accepted in December. So in that way, you can get some idea like how much time a particular journal is taking to publish your paper. So so that you can go into the fast track publication of your paper. One more thing is what I think Dr. Vivek Tiwari sir already told us regarding this, is when you are getting your first review and if it is a rejected, it doesn't mean that you have to communicate it to somewhere else. You have to you have to find out the reviews, and you have to go for that what is the reviewer said. You have to incorporate all the changes. If it is what you can say relevant to your paper, you do the incorporation in your paper, and then you can go for the next submission, right? The same thing will happen to the conferences also. Now, you don't have to go for all the conferences to publish. There are some reputed conferences under the IEEE, which is there, TANCON in India, and then Globcom type of conferences happen all over world, the IEEE and ACM. So all those standard publication conferences you have to go. Second thing, if you are having a particular research, let's say the research related to security in IoT, so you just find out those conferences, those international conferences, which is specific to the security. Now, if you'll go there and you meet some of the professors or some of the researchers, it will be definitely will be benefited to you. All the conferences done by IIT, IIIT, NITs, and many reputed universities. Now, over there, you can go and definitely attend those conferences. Many conferences are like second conference, fifth conference, 10th conference on this and this. That will be very reputed, and they are maintaining their reputation along the years. So you can just go into that. So the meaning of conferences is not just publishing the paper in the conference, it is meeting to those researchers and exchanging the thoughts, talking to them, means get the collaboration with those universities, those professors, those groups. So I think it will be very much helpful for the researchers. And conference is one way how we can do the collaboration with those researchers. So it is very good aspect of it. Next thing I want to share some of my personal experience related to how we can connect to the similar area of research which is available. So let me show you this. Okay, so let's say I'm opening a Google Scholar. Okay. So you all know what is the Google Scholar is, and is very a good way how we can actually follow your groups or follow your fellow researchers. Now here, this is a Google Scholar page where all my publication is listed here. Now, if you'll see here, I have put it some area of research. So let's say we have wireless sensor network, IoT, security, localization. If let's say I want to go for IoT. So if I'll click onto the IoT, so it will take me to all the researchers which are related to that particular area. Now here you can just find it out, the giant or the big researchers who have already published in the similar area of research. Now here, let's say if you want to go to some of the person, you can go here and you can go to their homepage and you can make or you can establish the communication with them, right? So this is a very easy way to find it out, your uh, related area of interest researchers, and you can do the collaboration with them for your further research. So actually the people are very helpful out there. If you want to take the help from there, you can definitely get it. Okay, let's go to the slide again. Yeah, so this is how. Now the impact factor, many people are talking about the impact factor and this H index and this I index, right? So what is the impact factor? Now, impact factor, definitely it will be allotted with a reputed organization, which is Thomas Witten, and how they are calculating it. So they are calculating for the year, for the 2 year of publication and the citations. So if we have a general, let's say the general of IoT and security. So let's say they have published some of, let's say, 200 papers in last 2 years, and on those 200 paper, let's say 400 citations are there. So the impact factor for that particular journal could be 2 in that particular case. So number of citations divided by number of paper published for that particular journal. So generally we take this impact factor for the last 2 years, that how that journal is performing, and this is how we can calculate the impact factor of a particular journal. The next thing that many people talk about is H factor and this I factor. So let's go again to let's go again to this Google Scholar site and try to understand this H factor and I factor. So I'll not take much time. I'll just go to some of the researchers which has less H time or less H values. Let's go to, okay. So I'm going to one of the researcher. Now, if you'll see here, what is the H index here and what is the I10 index here? So what is the H index? H index is saying 4. So if you'll go to the publication, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 publications which are available whose citation is 4 or more than 4. So if the citation is 4 or more than 4, so that is called H index. Now, if this particular citation will become 5, so H index will become 5. It says that 5 of the paper is there whose citation is 5 or more than 5. Now here 4 papers are there whose citation is 4 or more than 4. So its H index is 4. Now, what is I10 index? I10 index tell us like what are the papers which is cited more than 10 or more than 10 times. So here if you see there are 2 papers which are cited more than 10 times. So the I10 index is 2 here. So this is how this H index and I10 index will be calculated. H index is also calculated by the different journals. If we'll find out any of the journals, so they are having different H index also, which is available. If we'll go to this, yeah, so here it is saying H index 147 for this particular journal, right? So this is one aspect of finding this. Let's go to again into the slide. So this is all about targeting those venue for the publication. So depend upon your work, you can actually target the paper. Now the next thing we have to look after is research paper writing tool. So generally what we do is we use Word or we use LaTeX, right? So my suggestion is to go for the LaTeX. LaTeX is a tool for technical writing. So it is a main aspect of technical writing. So that's why we have to discuss it. Now LaTeX is a very good tool by which all those your the sections, the headings, the titles, the authors, the figures, the tables, uh, the references, all those things will be managed very easily. So this particular tool will help us to write the paper in a very good and effective manner. If let's say you want to share your work with your supervisor, so you can do it with a site which is called Overleaf. So in that Overleaf, you can just go and you can edit in LaTeX. So you can just share with your supervisors for corrections and all. This is very good tool. You don't have to give your hard copy to your supervisor all the time and do the correction and again come back. Instead, we can share this Overleaf through the Overleaf. Your LaTeX file could be shared here and both can do the editing very easily. So this is a very good tool. So I suggest all of you, if you are doing research and publishing the paper, definitely use LaTeX and Overleaf, which is available in which is making the writing, the technical writing very easy nowadays. Now the next thing we have to very much take care is I want to talk about is intellectual property rights. Now this could be not very much directly related to our discussion, but definitely we should know about it. Now this intellectual property rights are giving protection to inventions which have commercial values. Definitely whatever the work we are doing, whatever research we are doing, if it is not applicable in the real world, so I think it is of no use. So we have to do research to take some application in mind and to do the research so that it will be applicable in some of the applications, right? Then only it will be very much useful. So this is my suggestions. If you are doing the research, definitely you have to do the research or you have to do the work based on some application in mind. Now, okay, we have the industry property rights, which are called patent, and we have copyright. Now, what is a patent? So patent is nothing but we give some license that is granted to the inventor so that others cannot make, sell, and use it for a certain period of time. So we give the license for a particular inventions or particular, let's say, the innovative thing or any process, we can do the patenting. But this patenting will be for a period of time. So normally in India, we have 20-year, normally we give when the patent will be granted. So we'll give 20 years protection of that particular invention. After 20 years, if you want to do again, if you want to put a patent on that particular product again, you can do that. Otherwise, it will be public to all. So anybody can use it for their own purpose. Here, for the paper publications and all, we are more likely focusing on copyright. So this copyright is nothing but is the expression of a creative ideas. So whatever idea people has already been published or people has already been given in their findings, and if you are using that particular idea again and publishing the paper, ethically this is not correct. That we have seen in the plagiarism part also, right? So what we have to take care when we create a manuscript or when we create our paper. So we have to take care of the method or method that is provided by the previous researcher. If they have given a method, we doesn't have to copy that particular method, or the idea, we doesn't have to take the same idea for the paper. That's why intensive literature review is required. So that's why if you are working in one particular field, you have to do the literature review thoroughly so that your idea or your proposed idea should not match with the existing idea. The second thing is the architecture. What architecture they are providing for their method, you don't have to use it again. Next, algorithms. Whatever algorithms already published paper has been given, you have to rewrite your own algorithm. The diagrams and all, the diagrams which is which is already available in the existing paper, you have to rewrite the diagram again, and then you have to put it in your paper and you go for the review process. Now, most of the review comments come from this section, like the diagram is not proper, the diagram is not visible, or the diagram that you have done, which is done look like a copy paste, is not clear in that way. So you have different tools to draw the diagram, and very good quality diagram you can draw for your manuscript, which is available. Now, I think most of the aspect has been covered. I might have, I'll not go to the aspect that has already been covered related to a review, how we can reply those reviews. So I have just removed those things. What are the other thing that we can go is the writing skill and all. So as Vivek Tiwari sir already told, it is a skill. So it is not like from the first paper you'll get the writing skill and you will be efficient or you will be perfect for manuscript writing. No, at least you have to start by writing your own manuscript and then refine it and then refine it, and then you do more modification, get the review from your local supervisor or a review from the uh, general reviewer, and then you can do the modification, and then only you can get to know that what are the flaws I have, uh, what are the other things which are not there in my manuscript that I can add it on later on, or I can enhance my paper in that way. So all these things will be developed through the time. So it is a process. That's why for the PhD degree it is taking for 4 year, 5 year, 6 years. So it is a process. You cannot learn or you cannot be efficient overnight with this particular uh, paper writing and all those things, right? One more thing that I want to tell is, yeah, my suggestion is to, yeah, so how we'll choose the generals and how we'll choose where we have to publish, right? So generally what will happen is we without going to the proper research, we just put our paper into some journal, and it is taking a lot of time. Let's say for 6 months and 7 months you are waiting for first review, so it is a waste of time, right? So if you are thinking like your paper is so you give your paper to those journals which is giving you a quick review, right? And then take those review, enhance your paper, and then you go for other journals if you are targeting to a particular journal. So we have like IEEE access. We all know that, right? It is it will give you the review in, let's say, in 2 weeks of time, right? So IEEE access is an open access journal. And there are many open access journals available. It is not comes into the category of paid journal. Paid journal is we doesn't have to publish our paper in paid journal. So we I definitely Vivek sir and Mishra sir, definitely they will not tell us or they will not suggest us to go for the publication in the paid journal. Definitely, it is a no, big no. You have to go for the publication in these journals, which is free of cost. You go for whether it is listed in Scopus indexing or not. You go for whether it is indexed in SCI indexed or not. If it is there, then you can put your manuscript there for the review whenever you get, and before that you do the research, the how much time it is taking. So and then you make the decision with your supervisor, then this is the targeted venue where we have to put our paper, and then only you can get a good publication in time. And so because many of cases I have seen, like for a particular journal is taking 1.5 years or 2 years of time. So I think it is a waste of time. In 2 years, I think in a particular area, in 2 year, many research will has already been done. So I don't think so. This much of time is needed for publishing your paper. So my advice is to go for quick review journals, good review journals, which is listed in SCI indexing, and then you can go for the good publications. And one more thing, before targeting the problem, you just find it out the paper which is coming from good journal and good transactions. Don't learn any manuscript from those paid journals. Okay, this is not a very I'll not give the suggestion to my scholar to go through those paper which are of very less impact. Is of very less impact, very low quality paper. Don't go for it, otherwise it is a waste of time, right? Is a very much waste of time. So I think most of the perspective related to research outline, how we can have to do, and technical writing, I think I have covered. Related plagiarism, I have given you some idea. How you'll find out the related researchers of your area, that also some idea I have given you about the impact factor and all. So I think most of the thing I have covered. So this is my time. So I'll close my my work here, like my lecture here. So if you have any questions, you can ask me related to it.
Thank you, sir. So it's a very informative session for us. So some of the questions from our participants. One question is Khushbu Saxena ma'am. Which tool is freely available to draw diagram?
Okay, so there is a draw.io which is available. Let me show you in the Google. So there is for drawing. So draw.io is very good online diagram here we can make. So here, this is one very good tool for us. Here we can draw a very good quality diagram, and the background way is clear. So you can put your diagram in any of the background, it will reflect. Draw.io. So my researchers, they are using this particular online tool.
Thank you, sir. So another question is, Indrakant sir, can we publish a research paper on previously 3-5 year back done research work?
Yeah, definitely, but you have to add up the new research literature review on it. Okay. If you have done, let's say, for the past 2 years or 3 years, so definitely new thing has been developed on that particular field, new concept has already been came. So you have to cite the recent work, and you have to compare your work with the recent work. Then only you can publish it. It will be better.
Thank you, sir. So another question is from Khushbu ma'am. Kindly suggest some open source plagiarism tools.
Okay, so I have listed in my okay, I'll share it again. Actually, I have listed all those tools which is open source in my PPT. Let me go through the PPT again. Okay, so in the PPT, I have, plagiarism detection. So these are some of the tools which are freely available and which have some limitations. So I think duplicate checker, copy leak. So I think first 5 or 6 online plagiarism detections tools are there, which are already available. Some of the tools are with the limitations, like you have to go for, let's say, 1 or 2 paper in 1 week of time in that way. But what I suggest is you just tell your universities, your institute to buy Turnitin license. That could be very good tool for the plagiarism detection. Otherwise,
Thank you,
other
sir.
tools are there which might not be applicable, or which might not be up to the level of other journals. So I suggest Turnitin will be better.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So another question is for Sandeep, sir. Sir, Turnitin is not available with colleges who have affiliated with the same university. So from where we can get help?
Okay, so as I told you, you have to make the collaboration with other universities or other groups also who are doing similar work. Okay, you just take the help of those people which have Turnitin available. Uh, get the get the username password. They can create temporary username password there. You can just check your plagiarism and then remove your paper from there. So it will be very easy to do that. As I told you, it will take hardly 5 minutes to get the similarity report.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Sir, the questions are over. Thanks,
Okay.
sir. It's very informative session for us. I'm really thankful to DG sir, Principal sir, Dr. D.K. Mishra sir, Dr. Vivek Tiwari sir, Dr. Suresh Sharma sir, and I am very much thankful to organizing committee and Department of Computer Science and Engineering IST. Special thanks to Dr. D.K. Mishra sir for giving technical support through ACM chapter in Dole. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mishra sir.
Dr. Suresh, it was very informative and you have pointed out a very good thing like H index and I index. Mostly research doesn't know about that. And if I invited this MIT Boston invited me to deliver my lecture, and that time I know that what is the value of H index and I index. On the basis of that, they invited, and the researcher should know that. And the another thing I want to point out, when I completed my PhD in 2007, my examiner was from IIT Bombay, and my supervisor introduced him as an there is no need of introduction. Go to the DBLP and go to the ResearchGate, see his profile. There is no need of introductions. From that time, I inspired, and now my H index and I index is also very good. So, on the basis of your lecture, sir, Dr. Suresh, the remaining I think 104 participants right now connected, they will do something, they will inspire and go ahead. So very good, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suresh.
Thank you so much, sir. I request all the participants to fill up the feedback forms after the session. Thank you so much. Thanks all the participants for with us.
Our
Yes,
session is over?
Yes,
Purva
the
ma'am.
session is over now. Yes, sir.
Purva, हेलो
Okay,
पूर्वा
bye.
मैम,
हाँ जी सर.
ये सेकेंड सेशन का फीडबैक फॉर्म रहेगा,
हाँ बोल दिया
तो
मैंने.
ये भी फिलअप करना है ना? हाँ.
Yes.
Okay, where is
Thank you so
Nilesh?
much.
Right, thank you.